You know what's honestly the most frustrating part of the transfer window? It's when we spend hours watching matches, digging into a player's stats, even putting together a whole video, only for the transfer to fall through in the end. That's exactly what happened with Zubimendi last summer, and now it's happened again with Gyokeres. The Frenchman looks set to join Chelsea, so that video is heading straight to the shelf. But don't worry, we're not leaving you empty-handed. Instead, we're turning our focus to 3 other strikers the club could be targeting: Julian Alvarez, Victor Gyokeres, and Goncalo Ramos. We'll go through each of them one by one. We'll look at their playing styles, highlight their strengths, and even point out a few weaknesses, because we like to keep things real around here. So make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get straight into it. First up, Julian Alvarez. The Argentine doesn't even need an introduction at this point. He's already a World Cup winner, and honestly, we're pretty sure Manchester City and Guardiola are still kicking themselves for not giving him more chances on the pitch, or even worse, letting him go. Alvarez is only 25, and he's a dynamic, versatile forward who can play anywhere across the front line. Literally anywhere. At about 5 feet 7 inches or 5 feet 8 inches, he's not the tallest striker out there, and he's definitely not your classic target man. But what he lacks in size, he more than makes up for with tenacity, skill, and non-stop work rate. We've even seen Guardiola play him deeper at times, almost like an attacking midfielder behind Haaland, because Alvarez is so good at dropping into midfield, linking up play, and creating chances. Now at Atletico Madrid, he's already scored 29 goals. Talk about hitting the ground running. That guy doesn't need a settling in period, he just gets going. So what makes Alvarez such a special forward? For starters, his off-the-ball movement is top class. He's constantly shifting around, finding space between defenders, and pressing like his life depends on it. The man just never stops running. That kind of energy makes him a nightmare for defenders trying to play out from the back, or even just track him during open play. Offensively, his finishing and instinct for goal are both excellent. Even though he wasn't a regular starter during the 2022-23 season, he still managed to score 15 goals in his first year at City. A lot of those came in big moments, either when Haaland was rested or when Alvarez came off the bench. He's also got a serious shot on him. We've seen him score screamers from distance and even take free kicks at City. In short, he's clinical when chances fall to him, and he can produce magic out of nowhere with a single touch or a long-range strike. Now, no player is perfect, so let's talk about Alvarez's weaknesses. The most obvious one is his lack of height and aerial presence. He's not the guy you want on the end of a cross from a fullback. If Liverpool are chasing a game and start firing long balls into the box, Alvarez isn't going to out-jump a big Premier League centre-back. That said, it doesn't mean he's soft or easy to push around. He showed at City that he can battle for the ball all day long and hold his own physically, even against tough opposition. So why do we think Alvarez would be a good fit for Arne's slot system? Well, we all know Slot likes to use a false 9 at times, and Julian is more than capable of playing that role. He has the vision and technical ability to drop deep, link up play, and then turn and attack the space behind. He's also quick enough to exploit those gaps and create problems for defenders who step out of position. On top of that, his versatility makes him even more valuable. Whether it's on the wing as a second striker or through the middle, the Argentine can step into different roles when needed. That flexibility could be a huge asset over a long season. Bottom line, Alvarez brings a lot of what Liverpool need: energy, finishing, and that ability to play in multiple positions. But what do you think? Would you take Julian Alvarez at Anfield if the opportunity somehow came up? Of course, convincing Atletico Madrid to sell won't be easy, but we want to hear your thoughts. Let us know in the comments below. Alright, next on our list is a name that might spark a bit of debate. Some fans think he's the best thing since sliced bread, while others might call him an Emil Heskey regen. Yep, we're talking about Victor Gyokeres. The Swedish striker has been absolutely lighting it up in Portugal for the past 2 seasons, scoring an insane 97 goals in 102 appearances for Sporting. That kind of output speaks for itself. Gyokeres is 27 years old and stands around 6 feet 2 inches, so right away you can tell he's got a totally different profile compared to Alvarez. Sure, he's older, but he's smack in the middle of his prime and already looks like a finished product. If Alvarez is the clever technician, Gyokeres is the powerful racehorse. But don't make the mistake of thinking he's just a classic target man. There's a lot more to his game than just size and strength. So what makes Gyokeres so effective? In one word, complete. This guy really can do a bit of everything. Physically, he's a monster. Strong, tall, and fast. He's the type of forward who can back into a centre-back, hold the ball up under pressure, and play it off to a teammate. Need someone to win an aerial duel? He's got the leap, the strength, and the timing to dominate in the air. In fact, he's often described as an aerial monster, with the athleticism to rise high and control long balls with ease. But here's the twist. Gyokeres is also surprisingly good with the ball at his feet. He's got a touch of that unexpected dribbling flair, the kind that makes you stop and go, hold on, did he really just do that? He can pick the ball up near the halfway line, turn sharply, and charge forward on a solo run. We saw plenty of that during his time in the Championship, where he'd carry the ball on the counter like a freight train, and he's brought that same energy to Sporting, breaking lines and taking defenders out of the game on his own. Now let's talk about his finishing and creativity because it's top tier. Gyokeres can score all kinds of goals. Tap-ins in the box, solo efforts, rockets from the edge of the area, you name it. He's got a cannon of a shot and he's comfortable striking with either foot. What's more, he's the kind of player who doesn't overthink in front of a goal. He'll pull the trigger early, sometimes catching keepers completely off guard by taking a shot mid-stride before they've even set themselves. But like any other player, there are still plenty of questions when it comes to the Swede. The biggest one is whether he can translate those crazy numbers into a tougher, more competitive league like the Premier League. Physically, he looks more than capable of handling the demands of English football. But let's be real, we're not sure he'll be able to bully defenders here the same way he did in Portugal. The defending in Liga Portugal was a few levels below, and that definitely helped him dominate. Another potential concern, especially in Arne's slot system, is how much better Gyokeres looks in transition. He clearly prefers running the channels and attacking space. That works brilliantly when there's room to run into, but it could limit his effectiveness against deeper, more compact defenses. If a team is sitting back and parking the bus, will he still have that same impact? Don't get us wrong, Gyokeres has all the tools to succeed in England. The question is whether he's truly as good as his numbers suggest, or if he's benefiting from playing in his slightly weaker league. Is he racking up goals because of the level of opposition, or is he just that good? The stats and the eye test both lean toward the latter, but until he's tested in the Premier League, it's impossible to say for sure. So what do you think about Gyokeres? Would you be excited to see a powerhouse like him lining up at Anfield? Some fans might see him as a bit of a risk, since he hasn't played in one of Europe's top 5 leagues yet. But then again, plenty of great strikers have come from leagues like Portugal and adapted just fine. So we want to hear from you. Would you take Gyokeres at Liverpool? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Finally, let's talk about Goncalo Ramos. A lot of you will probably recognize the name from the 2022 World Cup. Ramos is the guy who famously replaced Cristiano Ronaldo in Portugal's starting lineup for a knockout game, and then went on to score a hat-trick against Switzerland. Talk about announcing yourself on the biggest stage. At club level, he became Benfica's main man up front after Darwin Núñez left for Liverpool, and he stepped up big time. In the 2022-23 season, Ramos scored 27 goals in all competitions and played a key role in helping Benfica win the Portuguese league. That run of form earned him a big move to Paris Saint-Germain, where he's been part of a star-studded attack. Ramos stands around 6 feet 1 inch, he's strong, and he plays very much like a traditional number 9, but with a modern twist. So what does that mean? Basically, he's a natural goal scorer, especially inside the box, and often plays the role of a poacher. But at the same time, he brings the energy, work rate, and team-first attitude that today's top strikers need to have. One of his biggest strengths is his positioning and movement in the penalty area. Ramos just has this instinctive ability to lose his marker at exactly the right moment and pop up in the perfect spot to finish a chance. An astonishing number of his goals for Benfica came from inside the 6-yard box. tap-ins, rebounds, one-touch finishes from close range. That might sound simple, but it actually shows just how sharp his anticipation and awareness are. In fact, in the 2022-23 season, only Erling Haaland scored more goals from inside the 6-yard box across Europe's top leagues. That puts Ramos in elite company. He reads the game so well and times his runs with precision. He'll sneak between defenders at the last second, or peel off the back of a centre-half to find space for a cutback. It's the kind of instinct you either have or you don't. You can't really teach it. Another big plus with Ramos is his work rate and pressing. He's not one of those classic poachers who just waits around for the ball to come to him. At Benfica, under Roger Schmidt's high-pressing system, Ramos often acted as the first line of defence. He chased down centre-backs, pressure goalkeepers, and basically do all the dirty work modern strikers are expected to do. That makes him a natural fit for a team like Liverpool, where pressing and intensity are part of the culture. From day one, he'd understand what's expected tactically and match that energy. He's also solid when it comes to link-up play. Now, he's not as creative as Alvarez, and he doesn't have the same physical presence in hold-up play as Gyokeres, but Ramos can definitely handle the basics. He's capable of neat one-touch layoffs, short passes in tight spaces, and combining with teammates around the box. Now let's get into some of the concerns. Because Ramos thrives on service, one question is what happens when that service dries up. We've already seen some of those struggles at PSG. He hasn't exactly set League One on fire, and he hasn't nailed down that number 9 spot since making the move to Paris. Part of that is adapting to a new team and playing style, but the numbers tell a story too. He's only managed to get about 31% of his shots on target, which is on the low side for a top striker. And, unlike someone like Gyokeres, Ramos isn't going to bulldoze through a backline or smash in a solo goal from 30 yards. He's more dependent on the team's attacking rhythm. If the midfield and wise players aren't creating chances, Ramos isn't the type to drop deep, beat 3 defenders, and make something happen out of nowhere. That's not really a weakness, it's just the nature of his game. He's a poacher, and poachers need supply. So yeah, you could say his game is a bit more one-dimensional compared to the others, but the thing is, it's a really valuable dimension, especially when the system is built to get him in those goal-scoring positions. Now, with his minutes being limited under Luis Enrique at PSG, maybe there's a chance to swoop in and snatch the 22-year-old for a reasonable fee. This is exactly the kind of opportunity Michael Edwards and the recruitment team love to jump on. Ramos fits the mold of that smart, value-driven Moneyball approach Liverpool have followed so well over the years. So what do you think? Would you want to see Goncalo Ramos in a Liverpool shirt? Is he the kind of clinical finisher and hard-working forward we need leading the line? So there you have it, 3 very different strikers who could all bring something unique to Liverpool. Alvarez with his energy, versatility, and technical quality. Gyokeres, the physical powerhouse who can do it all, and Ramos, the poacher with that killer instinct inside the box. Each one has their strengths, a few question marks, and it all comes down to what kind of forward Arne Slot wants to lead the line next season. Now we want to hear from you. Which one of these strikers would you like to see at Anfield? Do you think any of them fit what Liverpool are missing right now? Or is there someone else we should be looking at? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to subscribe for more transfer talk and analysis.